Well, my dear friends, a very good evening to you. It's where are we tonight? Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday night. Wednesday night. I'm George Grant. Take a look there. I'm not alone tonight, man. And she's early tonight. She's early. Sherron, how you doing, girl?
I am so good. Energized.
Energized. Yeah. Well, I I'm not surprised. I'm assuming, for all intents and purposes, that the little bit of a hiatus that we've all been having for the past couple of weeks is having a positive effect on you. Hey, am I right about that?
Yes, you're right. I'm
Yeah.
getting a lot of rest. I'm getting a lot of stuff done. I'm getting into a little mischief,
Aha!
trouble.
Aha! You know, to
Yeah.
tell to tell you the honest truth, Sharon, I can't tell you when last I have had so much sleep. Really,
That's good.
you know. I mean, for years I've been complaining that I probably live off 4 or 5, maximum 5, but generally about 4 hours sleep a night. And nowadays I find myself getting 6 and 7 hours of sleep a night. And I'm saying, yeah, man. Really
Yes,
though?
that's very good.
Yeah.
I got
I,
12 hours on Sunday night, Sunday to Monday,
you had 12 hours?
12 hours of sleep.
My. I'm surprised that you remembered to wake up.
Well, actually, they woke me up.
Aha.
I think I think the household thought that something was wrong because it's not like me to be in bed at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
girl, looks like things are, we might be getting around the corner here a little bit. Listening to the press conferences this week, I see that there are some adjustments being made to the state of emergency. And that's one of the things we're
Right?
going to do tonight. We're going to take a look at a press conference the Royal Grenada Police Force had yesterday.
Right.
We're going to hear from, I think his name is Superintendent Andy
Cohen?
Connaught.
Oh, Connaught,
Oh,
yes.
Connaught, yeah. Yeah. We'll hear what he had to say because this is a busy week. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to be either very happy or very ticked off. Happy tomorrow because the banks are opening up. Ticked off
Yeah.
because they're going to have to wait in line for 25 hours.
Hmm.
Probably.
Well,
Probably.
I want to touch on some of the drama related to Peter Martinic.
Yeah.
I
We're
have
going to
some
talk about
people
that.
some people I need to thank and stuff like that.
Hey, Sharon, let me tell you, that's on my list, okay?
Hmm.
As I take a look at the rundown I have here tonight, it says, with the relaxing of the state of emergency, lifestyles adjustments will still be needed, okay? That's the first thing on the list. And then it says, take a deep breath. Here comes Sharon.
Ah,
Yeah. So, okay, we're going to get to you, girl. We're going to get to you, and we got time on our hands tonight. Just let me
good.
check. I don't know whether or not they did a newscast today, but let's check and see if the GI. Yeah, man, tonight's Wednesday. Yeah, they have a report. So we're going to do the national report, but after we talk with you. Okay, how
Okay.
about that?
That's good.
That's good. All right. Um, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do is start by taking a very, very quick break here, and then we will come back with what Superintendent Connaught had to say yesterday about the changes. I mean, shopping and not just Grenada, but Carriacou. Oh, yeah. He talked about that. He talked about banking. He talked about people who are worried about the fact that their automobile insurance may run out on them. You know, all of that stuff's coming up. So hang in there.
Right.
Hang in there. Yeah.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us
As we energize our Spice Island.
GrenLec, energizing our Grenada.
folks. Here we go. It's now 10 minutes after the hour. Just let me say good evening to the pilgrims out there on FB. Hello there. Scroll back. Maggie Rello. I'm still trying to get used to this. Maggie Rello. Maggie Rello says, good night all, and Maria MP. You guys are trying to pull a fast one on Georgie since you switched from Facebook to YouTube. I understand. Anyhow. The St. Bernard saying good evening. John Noseyneck says, Sherron, it looks like your comments last week had an effect here with a ministerial visit. Yeah. And I have no doubt that's what she wants to talk about tonight. That's what we wanted to talk about tonight. You know the term bung away? Yeah? This woman bung away last week. Boy, did she. Yeah. Theo Richards, Mr. Richards is in New Jersey tonight. Where have you been, sir? I haven't seen you in a while, but it's good to see you. Let's see here. Trini62 is saying hi to you guys, and Jabon's saying hi, and to Tiffany Martinique as well. Boy, Ryan's MacBook Pro just crashed. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing, but I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I can identify with you. I know what it's like. I had a lot of those. Margaret Rose says, hi Sherron. You've been making headlines. You were right on point though. Way to go. Young man. Yeah. I bet that's going to make her day. Well, folks, now, big press conference yesterday for the RGPF, yeah? Big press conference. Last night we played you the part with Vanny Kerwin, Superintendent Vanny Kerwin, talking about the changes that are coming up and the fact that, generally we've been behaving pretty good. Canadians, through the state of emergency. Yeah, they picked up more than 100 people. But by and large, the police seem to be pleased with the way that Grenadians have been behaving. And, he pointed to the fact that, as a result, there's some adjustments being made to the state of emergency, the policies pertaining to the state of emergency. And that next week, you may even see more favorable adjustments being made. There was a part that we did not play though, and this was by Superintendent Andy Connaught. And so I thought I'd play this tonight because he too had some pretty good news, which I think is going to make some of you guys feel fine. I'm sure, knowing what you guys are like, somebody will find something to go about. Yeah, that's fun, that's life. But right now, here's Superintendent Connaught.
My responsibility here this morning is to give a general overview as to our traffic arrangement for the upcoming days. But to put this into context, I think it is imperative that I lay some of the foundation measures. Of course, ACP Prince have already alluded to the fact of the relaxing of some of the regulations, and come with the relaxing of regulations would bring upon more traffic along the public roadway, and that is where we come in. So, in as much as it is a piece to members of the public, no, the task is at hand for officers of the traffic department. But before I get into this, I must take the opportunity to really commend the members of the general public who have been assisting greatly with the operations on traffic management and adhering to the regulations and the directives given by police officers posted at the various points or even at the gas station when they come to fuel up. And this has significantly impacted on our ability to be effective, and also with application of the deployment of the motor vehicular apps, we are able to ensure that only persons who are qualified to access pumps on particular days are indeed those persons arriving and having access to those fuel. the fuel days. We've also responded to the concerns of vehicle owners, and especially during this period, or what we normally call the licensing period, because with the advent of the curfew period and the emergency regulations, we had to suspend our motor vehicle inspection, and that significantly impacted upon a number of persons who, during the second period, was unable to have their motor vehicles inspected. What we have since done is to allow for these individuals to continue driving their motor vehicle, albeit it is not yet inspected and the vehicle not yet licensed for that period. And we have since been in communication with the Accountant General and to ensure that those payments can be made at a subsequent date. But that must be done considering the fact that we have already suspended the period. It gives us now the opportunity to extend that period to afford for the inspection of those vehicles. Once this present situation is lifted, we'll extend the period to allow for those vehicles to be inspected and the necessary payments can be made at the Treasury or District Revenue offices. Another critical factor that was brought to our attention, and we have been deliberating upon that, is the whole issue of vehicle insurance. And as we speak today, there is some arrangement with the insurance companies where the clients can call in, because we have to look at the risk involved. And that is a principal factor here, the risk involved should in case someone, a vehicle insurance is expired and he or she gets into an accident. So we had those discussions with insurance companies, and they're open and they are accessible to their clients who can call in. An arrangement can be made for an extension of the insurance, but that is a one-on-one between the client and the particular insurance company, because insurance company to company, the arrangements might be slightly different, and they would be able to speak and give a little more clarity on that particular issue. But that is an arrangement that is in place, so we want persons to take advantage of this window of opportunity to engage your company, because you have to ensure that you're covered for those risks that are involved in driving. Just before coming to this meeting, we were able to finalize the whole issue of persons whose driver's license this time, during the period of the emergency regulations, has been expired. And a number of persons have been calling in. So it's just a portion of persons who, from the time of the emergency regulation to present, these persons have been affected. And what is in place now is to ensure that the District Revenue Office is open to facilitate the payments. And there is a provision here that on Thursday and Friday of this week, from 9 a.m. to midday, the revenue offices would be open to facilitate the payment of driver's license only. With this in mind, persons who have been issued with an official receipt would normally have to carry it from henceforth along with the expired driver's license. So we would call that receipt a counterpart to your driver's license, because it is impossible at this stage to have your driver's license renewed and a new ID reprinted. So you would use the receipt along with your expired driver's license, and that is how you would be able to access, be legitimized, so to speak, on the road. But I want to pedal back here just a little bit, because there was a critical point that I needed to raise regarding the insurance certificates. Now, once it is agreed upon by the insurance company to issue a renewal of certificate, it would be done electronically. And our officers are mandated or directed by Commissioner to accept those electronic copies which persons will have on their devices, cell phones, iPads, whatever. And we are to recognize that, but this would be cross-referenced with the list of information that's provided by the insurance companies. So I just want to make that point clear. You, upon receipt of your insurance renewal, would only be able to receive it electronically, and the police will recognize the electronic copy. So I just want that to be understood clearly. The most challenging period for us at Traffic Department would be on those designated banking days, and where groceries will also be sold. Mr. Cohen made mention of the special market days, but I don't think we have selected areas where those sales would be done. So our traffic management plan would take that into consideration also. But for the special banking days, we recognize the humongous challenge that would be upon the police to ensure that there is astute traffic management protocols in place, And this is where the traffic department comes in. I've had some preliminary discussions with my senior staff, and already for the town of St. George, areas normally declared no parking would facilitate parking in some of these areas. And this would be subject to the direction of officers who would be posted in those particular areas to allow for those things to happen. Because no hiring vehicle would be in operation, hiring cars or taxis or omnibuses, where we had the taxi stands, those areas too would be utilized for parking of vehicles. The challenge would be the queues that would be extended outside of those banks, those establishments, even MoneyGrams and I think credit union also. So that is the critical area that we have to focus on. And for Church Street, we realize this places a unique challenge to have motor vehicles traversing along that street, and then you have the Cooperative Bank and also First Caribbean Bank in that area. The decision is to close Lower Church Street from its intersection with Upper Lucas Street and Market Hill. So no vehicles, with the exception of banking officials, would be able to make that left turn into the lower section of Church Street on the banking days. We do encourage persons who have to come to access the facilities to ensure that you come early, you secure parking, you act in a business-like manner, you do the transaction, and avoid lingering around aimlessly. Because the concession that is granted is for you to conduct business on those particular days. And we want to ensure that there is a smooth transition. And we cannot accomplish that without cooperation from members of the public. But you have been doing well thus far, and we do look forward with great anticipation for your continued support. So the taxi stands, as I indicated, would be utilized, and designated areas designated no parking. Some of those will be eased, so at least we provide some additional parking facility. Because as it stands, I am not too clear as to whether or not private parking areas at the malls or otherwise would be open. So in the absence of this information, we want to make sure that we have sufficient parking on the streets available for individuals who are trying to access banking services on those banking days. Now the queues coming out of the First Caribbean and Grenada Cooperative Bank, we have intended to line them along the street. Each bank would have a separate queue along an individual particular side of the road, and we trust that this distancing protocol would be observed, because not only our traffic management responsibility that we will be looking towards, will be ensuring that the other protocols relative to these emergency regulations are maintained at all times. Other traffic-related matters, as it would relate to the special market days, when those areas for vending are declared, we would again bring to the attention of the general public the arrangements that are in place for those special vending days. But as I said before, it is going to be a very humongous task for officers attached to the traffic department. We have been rising to the occasion with the support of the general public, and we do look forward with great anticipation for another smooth operation. We have been tested, tried, and I dare say certified by this time. And we're looking forward again to accomplishing our task with great success come this weekend, the latter part of this weekend into the weekend. Thank you very much.
Well, Sherron, what do you think? I noticed you were listening very, very intently there to what Mr. Guddnite was saying. Make you feel good?
Yeah, it all makes good sense to me.
You know,
I have no complaints.
there are a couple of notes here. Ryan says, "Sir, no towing away of vehicles during this pandemic." I'm not sure how wise that is, Ryan. I can understand, there are times you may want to park here, park there, but you know what we're like. People just do things indiscriminately without thinking about the consequences for others who are trying to use the roadway or the sidewalks or whatever. He also says, "I always pay to park my rental RAV4 at the Esplanade Mall." Well, as you heard him mention there in that, he was not sure whether parking would be available at the mall and, supermarkets and places like that. So I guess they will let us know as soon as they find out. There's also a note here, and Sherron, I think this goes in line with what you're saying. Margaret says, I really have to give them props. In my humble opinion, they are listening and doing their best to work with the public. They're trying, aren't they?
I think they're definitely listening.
Yeah. I've heard that comment made on my WhatsApp forum as well, because people have made some suggestions there which seem to have come to pass.
Yes, and it's all good.
It's all good so far. All right. Okay. Okay. Let me take another little break here, Sherron, and we shall return and let you have your say about Petit Martin. Okay?
Okay.
Hang in there.
Conveniently located in the Grandin Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Granadas will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Core Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Alrighty, folks, I'm back with my sister Wren, Sherron Roberts. Cher, I think you're a lot better known today than you were a week ago, thanks to you losing your cool, pushed to losing your cool this past week. And you were very vocal about it. And a lot of people listened to what you said. Why don't you, for those who may not be familiar with what went on, why don't you explain what brought about your spurt of anger?
Right. Well, first of all, I want to thank Odinga Charles Blair. No, the other way around. Odinga Blair Charles. Odinga and myself spoke out about the injustice as far as we were concerned. and the fact that nobody seemed to have been paying attention to what was happening in Pitamartinique. To begin with, they had like a whole week without shopping, and they eventually said they could shop like on the Tuesday, which in Grenada you were able to shop on Saturday and Sunday, but in Pitamartinique and Carriacou it would have been the Tuesday, and a lot of people were objecting to that. But one of the things I see, somebody posted today that Pitamartinique full of food. Now, the what I was saying is not food in general. We were talking about vegetables and provisions, which they get from Union Island and Myro and so normally. And without that, nobody was thinking about them. Somebody talked about a boat going up to Carriacou. But the reality is, as I said last week on this program, by the time they get to Carriacou, the amount of money they have to pay to get there, and when they get there, all food done. You cannot treat Pitamartinique the same way you treat Grenada. To begin with, Pitamartinique had no incidents of people being down with the virus. And when you shut down Pitamartinique like that, and you tell the fishermen they cannot go and fish, now what do you expect them to eat? A lot of people there, they fish, sell the fish, buy the food stuff. Now, I really, really want to say thanks to Prime Minister Mitchell, to Minister Steele, and to Dr. Mitchell for actually taking this on and visiting Pitamartinique. Mr. Steele and Dr. Mitchell, not the Prime Minister, the other one, George Mitchell, actually visited Pitamartinique. So, you know, I lost my cool. I got mad. I said what I had to say. I have no regrets. But mission accomplished. The day after they went up there, the fishermen were allowed yesterday to go out and fish. A boat came down to Grenada yesterday and will be going up tomorrow that would be purchasing provisions and stuff like that. As I said, if they didn't want the people to go to Union Island, I understand the doors are closed. That's okay. But things could have been arranged in such a way that the same people who come over every Saturday and Sunday to sell provision could have chosen somebody to pick up the money and the orders and place the orders, and they just drop off and pick up, just like the plane that came in from Venezuela to drop off medication could have dropped off food. But failing that, as I suggested, Grenada send up vegetables straight to Pitamartinique. Do not pass Carriacou, do not pass Go. You know, and that way we can be assured that the people there get first choice in the vegetables too. So, mission accomplished. I want to thank Tevin Andrews for the drive he has going on to get people to donate and to contribute to the people who are less fortunate, because they have people who are less fortunate in Pitamartinique who has nobody to send for them or help them in any way. And I have a little joke for you. Somebody in the speech that I make when, as you call it, I bung away, somebody decide to, you know what Bob Marley said about who the cap fit draw the string? Somebody decided to draw the string and draw it real tight too, and should be more careful about what they do. They send me a message in Messenger, and I saw the name and I thought, what is this person messaging me about? And when I open it, it said, I want to give you a slap. You're a piece of shit. Now, first of all, let's handle the first part. You want to give me a slap? Go ahead. Feel free. It's your hand. What will come behind it is a different story. And calling me a piece of shit have no effect on me, because the reality is Your opinion of me is none of my business. So whatever way you feel free to feel that way. And she immediately deleted it because I guess as a lawyer, she know the implication of what she did. But I'm disappointed that somebody in that situation can be so low down. That is what you call gutter behavior. So, and of course, getting her sister to put me on Facebook and call my name. If I really wanted to deal with that one, I would. But feel free, have your fun. As far as I'm concerned, as I said before, if I had to deal with the devil himself to get some attention to Peter Martinic, so be it. I would consider it and console myself that God sent the devil to deliver his work. So I think I done.
You sound like Alan. I done. You know, there are a couple of comments here from Ryan. Ryan says, "No loss of cool. Sherron was honest and spoke from the heart."
Thank you, Ryan.
He also goes on to say, St. Vincent's border is just off Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and there is an affinity between the two nations. He goes on to say, Sherron, you are a splendid advocate for your island home of Petit Martinique. When those folks can't prove their point, they go to ad hominem attacks. Trini62 says, more power to you, Sherron. Job well done. Onward and upward. John Nozinek says, Sherron, trolls only keep alive if you respond.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, Sherron, okay, so yes, this happened. But I think what followed is what really, really threw me for a loop. The Prime Minister of St. Vincent took on, actually, it was something he said that started this whole thing, wasn't it?
No. Read his letter today. Something else started this whole thing. And that was his response.
I saw a letter. Hold on. I saw a letter which he wrote to our Prime Minister yesterday, and actually I published that on my website. Is that the one you're talking about? Or did he write another letter today?
No, that's the same one.
Okay.
But he pointed out how it began, and then he responded. And then, you know, I saw somebody say on Facebook yesterday that that he was lying, that nobody from Peter Martinic went to Union Island. Well, you could check with the police. 2 people went to Union Island on different occasions, and the police put them on 14-day quarantine. So they did go, and he didn't. What's his name? Prime Minister Gonzalez didn't invite anybody to come to Union Island. He said that if they needed stuff, it can be arranged in an orderly manner. But you see, a lot of people don't listen and they just run them out. But the whole thing is, I think Odinga got some serious licks too for going and saying what she said, for speaking out, let's say. But nothing anybody could do, and I'll speak for Odinga and myself, because she's like a mini me. She has the same heart that I have and a passion for Peter Martinic. And I could tell you that nothing that anyone does can shut me up or can shut Odinga up, because we're going to speak out. We do not have to be political. We speak out for the people of Peter Martinic, even those who now fighting us down because of politics. They will see. Because the reality is, when Peter Martinic have the regatta, do you really think that people other than a few boats from Guav and how you call the place? Oh, I can't remember the name of the place. When you leave Woodlands and you turn right to go out there. Woburn. Some boats from Woburn and Guave participating in Grenada Regatta. Other than that is Bequia, Myro, Canawan, Union Island. Do you think anybody else support that regatta other than them? Do you think the average Grenadian who jumping up because of politics go to Pitamartinique? You think that some of the people that are jumping up and talking now about Pitamartinique ever came to Pitamartinique before politics? Before they joined NNP? The answer is no. I lived there. And for some people information, I was born there. I was born there on the 8th of July, 1955, and my navel string buried under a backwab tree in Madam Pay. So those of you who are speaking out about where Sherron Roberts come out, she come out in Cabier, Madam Pay. My parents and 3 of my grandparents are from Pitamartinique.
All right.
So I could go way back.
Theo Richard says, kudos to you, Sherron. You roared like a lion and the forest jumped up. And then Michael Alexander says, well said, Sherron. Keep up the good work. That is why I said they, the ministry, went up there to do damage control.
Of course. And you know, one of the things I thank Prime Minister Mitchell about, when after I graduated from Grenada, I spent some time in New York, went to Toro College, and then I went on I was in England for quite a while. And when I came back, I went to Pitamartinique. And Dr. Mitchell asked me to become the first coordinator for Pitamartinique Affairs. So I worked under the Ministry of Carriacou Affairs. And nobody in Pitamartinique could complain that I was political. Yes, I was in a political position, but everything else, when anything came up that had to be given to the public, I would say to people that close family, do not come. I would rather buy from my pocket for you than to give it to you. And then people say, Sherron, look out for her family. Any of them would tell you. The salary that I was being paid was used to support people. Nothing went in my pocket. And because of that, there are people now who could see the difference between when Sherron was there and after Sherron left. And Sherron will always be there for the people of Pitamartinique. Jump high, jump low, I will be there. And I don't care if you vex with me now. The day would come when you realize what is the problem and who is the problem.
You know, another sad thing about this whole episode, Sherron, is that I think it has shown us another side of our politicians, just in case we didn't know. I mean, people have been asking, why couldn't this matter between the two PMs be resolved? You know, hey, a little phone call, you know, pick up the phone and say, hey, bro, man, you know, log home. You know, rather than what we saw unfolding.
But you see, George, all people say when things like that happen, there is something in the mortar beside the pestle. Yeah. You don't know what is being grounded out. So, you know, people should just wait and see what's happening.
And it will eventually evolve. It will. Something else I want to ask you about, because I know that you keep an eye on politics in this place. I'm sure that you heard that we now have an opposition leader who was sworn in yesterday. You're smiling?
That is a bit of a joke for me. I would give it some time before I really comment, because that is an individual who I know very well, who I don't know if you're aware of, but the first time that Mr. Nimrod ran for elections in Carriacou. He ran as an independent, and Tobias ran for NNP, and Joan Purcell ran for NDC, and Joan won. And they, Mr. Nimrod joined NNP. They made him a senator, and he became the minister. And Tobias was sort of left out in the cold. But he has been an NNP for, I think, all his political life. So this too, I think, will pass. I don't think he might have been mad and at people in the party and decide to go his own way. But I see it as just another problem that would be solved, and we would end up with NNP in government and NNP in opposition. That's how I see it. So unless you prove me differently, I see it as a joke.
Well, you know, Sherron, I offered today he had a bit of a press conference, okay? And I spoke to him at that press conference today, and I invited him to be on the program with us this coming Sunday, Sundays with George Grant. And I mentioned to him during that press conference that over the years that I have been covering the sittings of Parliament, I have often, actually, my ears perked up whenever he stood up to speak. I listened to him because I have a great admiration for this man in that when he's got something on his chest, he doesn't hesitate to get it out. He's somebody who has shown a willingness to take on government. If government does something he does not like, he comes out and says it point blank. Whereas, you know, you have the others sitting there like a bunch of airheads just going, yeah, 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 hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. This guy calls a spade a spade. So today,
well, I hope he continues to do that.
Pardon me?
I hope he continues to do that.
Well, that was my point to him today. You know, I said to him, look, as a result of having seen this potential in you, there are people who are going to be watching you very closely and expecting a lot from you, hoping for a lot from you. So I said, I want you to spend some time convincing the people that, you know, this is going to continue and maybe accelerate. Sherron, the man took off on a tangent and started talking, and I'm sitting here going, there is a politician for you. I asked him one thing, and he's giving me a totally different answer. Another reporter from New York was attending that press conference, Kellen Bubb. And Kellen at some point had to say, you know, sir, answer the question George is asking you. Answer the question. So, you know, I'm saying to, again, I'm trying to make excuses here. I'm saying maybe he was a little bit uptight about having to face the media today, but maybe if I give him this opportunity on Sunday to come and face you guys, yeah, he'll be a little bit more prepared. I'm hoping.
I think he was under some pressure because there was some stuff going around about boycotting his press conference and somebody put in a press conference at the same time to upset him. And, you know, maybe...
Hold on. I thought that was in pretty poor taste. The Royal Grenada Police Force had a press conference yesterday. They've been having press conferences frequently for the past couple of weeks. And it was known that the opposition leader would be doing his first press conference this afternoon at 4 o'clock. That has been known for a couple of days now. Yeah. Why would they go and schedule a press conference at the same time? Please, for God's sakes. Pardon me?
Was there a press conference for the police at 4?
Yes, and I have to admit, I ignored it because yesterday I carried a press conference for the police. Another thing, the press conferences the police usually hold are usually done in the morning.
That's right.
Why did this one today have to be at 4 o'clock? You're going to tell me They and the GIS did not know about this press conference? Come on, please.
I'm sure they knew, but I thought that was a joke, so I didn't tune in to hear the press conference. I'm sorry, because I thought somebody was being mean.
No.
But the reality is, and I have never spoken to Tobias about this, the reality is they were very nasty to him while he was out there studying. It was not nice. And I was disappointed when he came back and went straight back into NNP. And I think it had to do with him not knowing what they did to him. And believe it or not, I know what they did to him. And there are certain people within the government who know what they did to him. I don't know if he knows, but one day we will meet under four eyes, as old people say, and he will know.
All right.
You know?
Sherron, we're running
So,
out of time, but I
no,
want to share some comments
one
with
thing
you.
I want to, Bishop Harvey made an appeal, and I'm trying to organize with your lady upstairs, your landlady, to make some masks. He said that he's doing a drive for masks for the police
I heard
and
that.
for other frontline people.
Yeah.
So I organized to have some masks made, which I'll donate to him, and he will donate to whoever he wants to. But I will also do some for the police in St. Paul's, which they're my people.
It's very thoughtful on his part and very thoughtful on your part as well. John is asking a question here. Sherron, do you think that local governance would work for dependencies number 1 and 2, Carriacou and Petit Martinique?
Is that John Nozinek?
Yeah.
Well, actually, in the Constitution, when Grenada became independent, that is written in the Constitution that Grenada and Carriacou will have local government. And I think I'm amazed that 46 years later, it's still not done. And I think maybe, yes, it should be.
All right.
It'll make a difference. Because the reality is the people have to get representation. And if you have, let's take a wrong number. Let's say you have 500 people on the 2 islands and one party got 300 votes. Who represented the other 200 people?
Okay.
So I think yes. The answer is yes.
Theo Richard says the biggest problem in today's society is the inability of we the people to separate politics from government.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Kipling says, God will reward you, Miss Sherron. Continue being you. Who vex, vex.
Is their face.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kipling. Hope you're doing good.
Ryan Jaban says, I love Toby's testicular fortitude towards the opposition. Sherron, you think it's a setup?
I do.
Okay, Sherron thinks it is a setup. Yeah. And you're not alone. I've been hearing a lot of that this afternoon as well. Theo Richard says, George, in my opinion, the opposition is half a dozen and the government is 6. In other words, they're the oh, yeah. In other words, they are the same. So let's see what happens
A lighter
down
shade
the
of
road.
green.
Pardon me?
A lighter shade of green.
You what?
A lighter shade of green.
A lighter shade of green. You know, Theo,
Yeah.
I really agree with you. We just have to wait and see what happens. But
Yeah.
I don't know, perhaps I'm just an eternal optimist. I keep hoping for the best. I really do. Ryan says, GG, you stirred up an ant's nest with Toby. Can't help it. Theo says, by the way, this is the first time I'm seeing you with spectacles, George. Yeah, like my specs.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Sharon. Thank you very much, sweetheart.
All the best, and to the folks in New York, keep safe.
Yeah. They're having a tough time, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, we hear the governor of New York talking a lot about the curve flattening in New York.
Right.
And I hope it's, I know it's a much smaller curve, but I certainly hope that the same happens here. Take care, my friend, and we'll be in touch.
Did you hear what Dr. Etienne, the director of PAHO, said today?
Tell me.
She said that she's warning the region, the Caribbean region, that within the next couple of weeks, the virus may peak down the side. So it's a good read, Dr. Etienne, the director of PAHO. It's scary, but you should read it.
Okay, we'll try to find that.
Yeah.
So do a Google for PAHO/ATN. Thanks.
Yeah,
Sharon.
I'll send it to you so you can post it somewhere.
Okay, I'll put it up on the WhatsApp forum and also on Grenada Broadcast. Thanks a lot, hon. Take care.
Okay. Okay, dear. Bless.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
Fishermen and farmers being allowed to sell on shopping days. Details to this story and more in the National Report. Welcome back with the details to the news for Wednesday, April 15th, 2020. I am Sherron Noel. Fishermen will not be permitted to sell fish directly to members of the public, but sale will be done through licensed fish vendors. That announcement by the Royal Grenada Police Force on Wednesday during the regular COVID-19 briefs. Superintendent of Police Vannie Kerwin outlined the regulations for farmers and fishermen as they are exempted from the mandatory curfew for Thursday, Friday and Saturday to be allowed to do business.
Only small boats will be allowed to engage in fishing with 2 persons per boat. With regards to seine or net fishing, 12 persons are permitted to manage the net, with 3 being positioned on each side. Provisions are not currently made for the larger type fishing trawlers, but this will be taken into consideration and a subsequent announcement will be made. Fishermen are not permitted to sell the catch directly to the public to prevent the potential for crowding and violation of the physical distance protocol. All sales will be made to licensed vendors who will package the produce in 2, 5, and 10-pound bags for sale to the public.
6 farmers' markets have also been established in each parish: National Athletic Stadium Car Park, Victoria Vegetable Market, Gore Vegetable Market, Natural Works St. David, Sater's Bus Terminal, and Grenville Bus Terminal. Pidi Martinique at Emma's Supermarket and MNIB in Carriacou will be stocked with supplies for residents on the island.
A maximum of 2 persons will be allowed per vending station in keeping with the physical distancing protocol. 2. Mask or other type of face covering must be worn at all times. 3. Frequent hand washing or the use of hand sanitizer is strictly required. 4. A vending station may be established with small tents or at the back of a pickup where feasible. 5. Farmers and vendors should have a minimum of 700 pounds of fresh produce. 6. Fresh produce should be prepackaged in bundles valued at $5, $10, and $20. Farmers are expected to set up between the hours of 6 a.m. and 8 a.m.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Elvis Moraine, is happy with the move to give farmers and fishermen the opportunity to earn a livelihood during this period. He said the ministry will provide support to individuals at the farmers' market.
We are happy to provide an avenue for them to really serve the public fresh produce. And we know this is twofold because, of course, at this time, we are advised to consume, as much fresh produce as possible. We also will provide some tents because we didn't have that in the mix, but of course the condition is terrible out there. So we'll be providing some tents at location that would help, to ease the burden of persons, being there. And I just want to encourage again persons to behave in a very orderly manner and to understand that this arrangement may not be perfect, but of course, as time goes on, we are looking at 3 days, so therefore we can improve things as we go along.
Moving along, the Finance Committee of the House of Representatives met Tuesday to discuss the economic stimulus package announced by the government in response to the impact of COVID-19. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, presented the package to the committee, which comprises all members of the House of Representatives. Dr. Mitchell's presentation also included the macroeconomic context in which the stimulus package will be rolled out and any issues relevant to the fiscal expenditure rules. The Prime Minister has confirmed that there was general consensus on his presentation with minor adjustments. Dr. Mitchell says the funds projected to be spent under the stimulus package is more than what was appropriated under the contingency fund for the year 2020, hence the steps being taken towards obtaining parliamentary approval. The next step in the process will be for the package to be presented in Parliament, and the next sitting has been scheduled for Friday, April 17, 2020. The Prime Minister has reassured Grenadians that contrary to some claims being made in the public domain, no parliamentary rules have been broken. Among the measures outlined in the economic stimulus package are payroll support for hoteliers, restaurants and bars, and small travel agents, and income support for public buses, taxi drivers, tourist vendors, and others qualifying hospitality-based businesses. Dr. Mitchell has indicated that the Ministry of Finance will honor these payments by the end of this month. President of the Principals Association, Dominic Jeremiah, says principals, teachers, students who adjusted to the new method of virtual learning and teaching must be commended for the achievements made in quick time. In a telephone interview with the Government Information Service on Wednesday, he did indicate, however, that reports he has received varies from one institution to another.
The important thing is that, from what I picked up, that principals and teachers were extremely creative. And I think the reason why they were very creative is because they had the interest of their students at heart. They wanted to ensure that during this period that everything was done to try to provide for the ongoing education of the children in our schools.
Transitioning from face-to-face teacher-student interaction to online teaching involves more than uploading, marking, and returning grades. Mr. Jeremiah says equally, parents need to be on board.
The work that is uploaded to the student is meaningful work and not just work to keep them busy. So we want to make sure that we don't overload them, but that the pedagogy that we are using to function in this new dispensation is one that would benefit the student in a very meaningful way. So teachers will continue to need a lot of support in learning how to function in this new environment. The students themselves will have to be supported, not only by the teachers and by the schools, but that parents have to take greater responsibility to ensure that the students are in fact doing what they are supposed to be doing.
He says it is commendable that teachers, students, and some parents are maximizing the opportunity presented through virtual teaching and learning. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Protect yourself and our community from COVID-19. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol. Use a tissue when blowing your nose, sneezing, or coughing. Immediately discard the tissue properly and wash or sanitize your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Let's do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. To stay up to date, visit the Government of Grenada's webpage or the Ministry of Health's Facebook page. For more information, contact the Ministry of Health's hotline by calling 53-VIRUS. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
Moving along, Grenada continues to boost and implement strategies in its fight against the global pandemic, the novel coronavirus. A fight, according to Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, that requires an all-hands-on-deck approach, since government imposed the mandatory curfew following the limited state of emergency. Various regulations and strategies have been implemented to cushion the effects of COVID-19. One such strategy is the establishment of a central coordinated mechanism. This incorporates the forces and expertise of NADMA, the RGPF, and the Ministry of Health. Acting Commissioner of Police Edwin Martin says it will be led by COVID-19 coordinator Dr. George Mitchell.
We have now activated a cabinet-approved committee called a Central Coordinating Mechanism, which is based at NADMA, So now we have integrated into NADMA and utilizing the NADMA construct a central coordinating mechanism for which all of the activities that are taking place related to COVID-19 will be routed through. That committee is headed by our COVID-19 lead, Dr. Mitchell, supported by myself.
An emergency operations center will also be established to assist in the fight against the virus.
We have also created an emergency operation center within that construct that constitute with lead and senior persons from all of the different agencies and departments that is critical in the fight against COVID-19. Much effort has been put into implementing this, and we will have press brief to inform the public exactly how this will be implemented. But generally, from a law enforcement point of view, I think we are doing well, and I want to continue to encourage and appeal for public cooperation as we look to reverse the trend of COVID-19 in Grenada and hopefully to be able to boast, as a matter of fact, that Grenada is turning the tide by the action we are taking.
And with this, we come to the end of the National Report for Wednesday, April 15th, 2020. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I am Sherron Noel, thanking you for viewing.
Alrighty, folks, just coming up on time to say goodnight, just about coming up on time. But I want to remind you guys, tomorrow, expect a lot of activity downtown. The supermarket's going to be open. The banks are going to be open. But I hope that you will remember to wear this, okay? Remember, please, don't agitate the police. Wear it for your good and the good of the country. Right. Now, let me take a quick look here. Somewhere in the newscast it was mentioned something about 700 pounds being a requirement, for people who are going to be trying to ply their trade. They need to have 700 pounds. Well, Trini62 says, well, I guess Crapo will smoke all them little poor vendors' pipe because they don't meet the 700-pound requirement. Yeah, I thought you might notice that. Kipling says, are we to believe anyone would dare to oppose anything the PM puts forward in the Parliament? If you do, dream on. Theo says, if they smart, he's talking about the 700 pounds now, he says, if they're smart, they would join together to make the 700 mark. That's true. Trini, didn't think about that, did you? Yeah. Form a little cooperative. Yeah? He goes on to say, Kipling, you're speaking a book. Even if they oppose, they have to do so in their minds. It's coronavirus is one thing, but something else that's been scary in this country for quite a while was the fear on the part of a large number of people in this country to speak out. Fear. Theo goes on to say, okay, I just read that. Trini62 says, Theo, that's kind of difficult to do in these times. Remember, a lot of these people does be hustling from their little kitchen garden, and that's true too. Trini62 always looks at things from a different angle. More of us should. And she goes on to say, a tale of two cities comes to mind. Theo says, Trini, I'm thinking so for real. It may be extremely difficult unless the mega vendors purchase from these small farmers. That's the only how everyone would eat a food. Okay. All right, folks. Break time, then we'll come back and wrap it up.
Greetings in the triune deity, whose we are and whom we serve. Fellow citizens of Grenada, and especially the body of Christ, we are facing in this generation a dispensational shift. In light of this, we are cognizant of the need to provide hope and reassurance to all. With new information coming to the fore relative to the government's effort to tighten the safety initiative, let us continue to remain resolute, emotionally sound, and mentally stable, mindful to maintain our virtual connection with each other. With the new regulations in place, persons may feel more alone or even anxious. We continue to trust in the sovereignty of Almighty God. Jehovah Megan is our shield. He is our refuge and strength, a very present help in this time of trouble. This COVID-19 pandemic, as a global phenomenon, is facilitating a dispensational shift, a diabolical simulation exercise towards preparedness for a satanic rise to global dominance in the earth realm. Satan's cryptic scheme is masterminded by the diabolic Illuminati, challenged by the World Health Organization, and promulgated by artificial intelligence, AI, through the rolling out of its 5G technology. God dictated to Moses and the prophet symbols and beast-like images depicting future events. God gave Moses in Leviticus 23 7 feasts or seasons, spring, summer, and fall, as a historic timeline, each outlining a specific dispensation pointing to Christ and the end time. The first 4, spring and summer feast, Passover, unleavened bread, first fruit, and Pentecost, have already been fulfilled in history. The next 3 fall feasts, trumpets, atonement, and tabernacle, are getting ready to be unfolded. God gave Daniel and John specific to the rise of the diabolical New World System or New World Order set up by the Antichrist's superpower with horns, heads, and a blasphemous mouth, dishonoring God and persecuting the church. His global goal is universal government, one world government, a one world economy, and a one world religion. God was what was generic in Christianity, in history, are principles relative to the word, prayer, and zeal or passion for Christ. We must be strategic to maintain them. Wise as serpents, harmless as doves. Remember the promise of Christ. The gates of hell will not prevail against the church. He is building and positioning his ecclesiastical end-time church. Except he builds, builders labor in vain. May God grant us grace and favor in this very difficult time. Please be mindful to maintain your safety. May the Lord bless, make his face to shine, and grant us his peace.
Take me to the King. I don't have much to bring. My heart is torn in pieces. cents, it's my offering. Take me to the King.
Folks, ain't that good news? The end is one step closer tonight. I hope you're not afraid. I hope you're happy about it. Parting word from the Holy Scriptures tonight, James chapter 4, verses 7 to 12. Submit yourselves then to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Come near to God, and he will come near to you. Wash your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. Grieve, mourn, and wail. Change your laughter to mourning, and your joy to gloom. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. Brothers and sisters, do not slander one another. Anyone who speaks against a brother or sister or judges them speaks against the law and judges it. When you judge the law, you are not keeping it, but sitting in judgment on it. There is only one lawgiver and judge, the one who is able to save and destroy. But you, who are you to judge your neighbor? That reading, pilgrims, James chapter 4, 7 to 12. Check it out, check it out, check it out. On that note, my dear friends, a big hug and a big thank you for joining me tonight. I'm George Grant. As always, sending God's blessings your way. By His grace, let's reassemble tomorrow night at 8.